Welcome everyone to this edition of Inside the Isles. I'm Aidan Northcott as always. Thank you very much for joining us again on this Tuesday evening. The sun is not shining as it has been the last few weeks, but hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and we're able to make up for the rain this week with taking a lot of sunshine this weekend. The 2020 QMJHL Draft is almost here. The festivities get underway Friday night at 7:30 Atlantic with the first round, and rounds 2 through 14 getting underway Saturday morning at 10 a.m. The week of events have kicked off today with the Commissioner's press conference. For those who missed it, October 1st is the tentative date to begin the QMJHL season with a full 68-game schedule. Obviously, things may change, but as of right now, that is what it's looking like. As a return to play committee being put on, involving all the different teams to make sure that things go smoothly as we get back to action and get everybody in the rink on time. The next step, obviously, is the open of the trade period tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So stay tuned for that. There may be some moves incoming from teams around the league. But we're not going to focus on that today. We're going to focus on the QMJHL Draft, the big one. My guest today is someone who's fairly familiar with it. He's going through the draft process once again this time around, only this time it's for the NHL. It's the one, the only Lukas Cormier. He is the highest drafted player in Charlottetown Islanders history. Lukas, thanks for jumping on here and taking some time to chat this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So, like I mentioned off the top, you are obviously the highest drafted Charlottetown Islander ever at 4th overall. But before we get into that, I ask the same two questions to every guest that I have on. Where have you been spending your time during this pandemic, and what has been your go-to outfit during the isolation and social distancing time?
Well, I've been here in St. Mary at home with my family most of the time. I think it's pretty hard to just stay home, but now in New Brunswick, and I think PEI is the same. We're just starting to be able to travel more. Golf courses are open, so I'm spending a lot of time there now. And for my clothing, it's I don't go out too much, so it's just comfortable stuff most of the time.
Yeah, that's been the general consensus across the board is the comfy clothes. I see you're rocking some Islanders apparel there. It seems to be the same apparel that was in the video that I believe it was your agent posted of you down in your basement setup, training for the draft. That is one of the most impressive at-home areas for training that I have ever seen. How much time have you been spending down there during this time off?
Yeah, for sure. We're pretty fortunate to have that in our basement. My parents put a lot of time in the making of that basement when we were younger. We've had that all our life, and it's been taken like 3 times, I think. So there a lot of pucks I've been shooting there, and it's we're grateful to have that.
So it's not just you shooting pucks down there too. It's your sister. Kind of talk about your sister's hockey career for a second too, because you're not the only Cormier in the house that's working on quite the hockey career. It's your sister Dominique as well.
Yeah, she's we have a pretty good relationship. She's the past 2 years she's played in Stansted College, and she's been doing pretty good there. She got recruited to play in Princeton, so she's gonna do another year in Stansted and then go to Princeton College for hockey the year after that. So I'm following her career also, like she's following mine. So we have, like I said, we have a pretty good relationship, and I'm looking forward to see what's next for her.
And she had an Hockey Canada tryout too with the under 18 team, is right? Is that right?
Yeah, she was on the under 18 team as a underage last year, so she's going through the process again this year. So yeah, hopefully she'll be able to, with the coronavirus and stuff, with the cancellation of things. It's not easy, but hopefully she'll get the experience to do that again.
That's amazing. Like as you said, like to be an underage player playing with like some of Canada's best. That's such an amazing feat for her.
Yeah, she's a pretty good athlete as well.
So, all right, let's talk about first and foremost your season as well, because you had quite the season in your own right. Never mind the injury, never mind the ending of the season. For now, like you matched your career high in points from last year, 36, but you did so in almost half as many games. I believe it was 44 games that you played, and matched your career totals from your rookie season in points. Talk about that season. Talk about the progression that you felt as a player, moving from a 16-year-old rookie in this league to a 17-year-old on a young team.
Yeah, for sure, it was a big change. 16-year-old, you're just getting used to the league. All making a big step from midget, and it's a harder league to play in. So it was a big transition. But last year was more just a little bit more confidence, more leadership. It was a little bit more comfortable with the league. So I think that's just part of the reasons that well it was hard that I had that injury in the middle of the year. But besides that, it was a pretty good year with a good group of guys.
Yeah, you had that injury. It was a lower body ankle injury that sidelined you for 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Talk about battling that adversity. I mean, that's a big chunk of time to miss, especially in an important season where you're looked at as a top prospect. You were pretty much just coming back from that injury and getting to full strength when you had to go and play in the top prospects game. Talk about battling that kind of, like I said, that adversity.
Yeah, well, all my hockey career, I was fortunate to never really be injured and miss games because of that. So when I broke my foot, it was hard. It was a hard 7 weeks to just watch everyone play, not be able to play. But uh, yeah, I was just excited when I came back, and it's in the past now. I feel 100%. So I'm glad to be over with.
Talk about the experience and the memories that you've created off the ice so far. I mean, you had quite the relationship with Po Joseph in his time here, from what I heard. But I mean, how have you enjoyed playing here in Charlottetown? How has that been for you?
Yeah, Charlottetown's is a great spot. When I first got drafted there, it was I was pretty excited because for me it's not too far from home. But I think for anyone that would get drafted here in the coming draft, I think it's a great spot to be. A small town. The fans are really behind us, and we have a great group of guys in the room. We really get along with everyone, and everyone's friends. And I think it's a great spot to play, and we should have good teams in the future, like we've had in the past.
So let's talk about that draft. As I mentioned off the top, the 2020 QMJHL Draft getting underway on Friday night. A bit of a different setup than when you were drafted. Obviously, you got the pomp and circumstance surrounding the event, getting to walk across the stage, almost being treated as if it was like a full NHL draft. Um, so let's talk about that from your experience as somebody who had that big memory. Um, what was take us through like that first like the day, like you get up, you put the suit on. How does that go from a prospect's point of view?
Yeah, well, that's a very special day. Just 2 years ago now. It still feels like it was yesterday. It's a day that I'll never forget. It's too bad that kids this year won't get to experience the same thing, but I'm sure it's gonna be pretty well organized online as well. But yeah, that day is just getting up. We were in a hotel room with my family. I actually had a lot of family there. All my cousins and grandpas and stuff. I think we have a picture. It's like probably 20, 30 persons. So it was nice to get the support from the family, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to go, but where I was going to go. But when I heard my name to Charlottetown, I was excited, and from there was just seeing everyone from the staff, meeting them for the first time, and just Pio was at that draft too. I got to meet him. That was pretty special. So it was a fun experience.
So yeah, you get as you said, you get called up by Charlottetown. You walk the stage. What is that moment like? How would you be able to describe that? Because what you sounded like was an absolute whirlwind. It's just like you draft it, you take the stage, you put the jersey on, and then all of a sudden you're whisked away to meet the staff, sort out your education. Yeah, describe that moment, like what it's like when you finally hear that, like from the Moncton Flyers, Lukas Cormier.
Yeah, well, it's a relief to hear your name. You're just like that. It takes a long time. Like I was the fourth pick, but just the three first picks, it takes like was probably like 30 minutes. So it's a long time. It's a long wait to hear your name, and when you get to hear it, is just it's a long walk to the stage, and you just feel just excited, just a mixed emotion. It was a fun feeling, and when I got up on that stage and to see all the like Jim and all the scouting staff, everyone on the stage, it was fun to put that jersey on.
Did you have an idea that Charlottetown was going to be taking you if you were there at 4?
Yeah, I had a couple good conversations with Charlottetown during the year, so I knew they were pretty interested, but I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to go. So yeah, I was for sure happy to hear my name at 4.
So now you're looking ahead. Now you've had that one draft experience. Now you're going to have another one with the NHL draft coming up, and that experience is going to mirror what a lot of these QMJHL prospects are going to go through, where it's probably going to be some sort of virtual draft. How have you been preparing in this downtime for that draft?
Well, I've had a lot of interviews well during the year, but since I'm home as well, a lot of Zoom calls. I'm used to being in front of the camera like this for interviews. So it's not like it would be better in person, but I think no matter what, like I said earlier, for the Q draft, I think they're gonna find a way to make it special no matter what, and it's gonna be a fun day whenever it happens. Hopefully, it's not too far from now.
So, what you said you've done a lot of interviews. I was curious, and I've always been curious about this because you hear the stories about the pre-draft interviews from a lot of prospects after they've been drafted. What's been maybe not necessarily the weirdest question you've been asked, but what's been the one that stood out for me? You don't have to say who asked you. You don't have to say any scope. But what's been the question that you were like you left that interview like was that actually asked? Like what question would that have been?
Well, I've heard some players with some like pretty crazy questions, but for now, I don't know. I really didn't have any like hard questions. It's all close to the same questions. I just want to know a bit of your background, like just get to know you as persons. They know how you play already, so they want to know every little detail about who your family is and where you live, what kind of guy you are, and stuff like that. It's more every interview is kind of all the same, like similar questions. So I'm getting used to having those questions.
So you have to describe your family in every interview. How long of a talk is that?
Oh. No, it's not just that, but it's yeah, every interview is probably around 30 minutes, sometimes a bit longer, sometimes a bit less. It's yeah, it's all right.
It's I just laugh because like you have one of the most like the biggest families I've ever seen, especially in terms of support, which is so incredible how much your family supports you and Patrick LeBlanc, also, like as well, one of those many cousins that you have. But almost how you guys' whole community kind of rallies around you guys in that sense. It's really really cool to be a part of that and be able to experience that. I'll never forget that first goal that you scored in Moncton um, in your rookie season. It sounded like we were at a home game. I remember being on color commentary with Corey Arsenault, and he's just like, "Are we back at a nicer Eastlink Center? Because this is so loud in here."
Yeah,
So
I'm grateful to have that support from the family and also the town. I come from a pretty small town, so everyone in the region is all supporting me, and Patrick, like you said, is also from the same town. We're not cousins. I know I said that in a couple interviews or something, but we're actually not cousins. We're good friends that we grew up with each other since we're really
Okay.
young, and we always, played on the same team. So yeah.
I'll go edit your elite prospects page right now so it doesn't show up that Patrick LeBlanc's your cousin. So we'll wrap up a little bit here, Lucas, with one of the question that it's less of a question, but what advice would you have for prospective draftees? Obviously, like I've said probably about 3 or 4 different times now, your experience isn't really going to mimic what their experience is right now. But as someone who has had the big draft experience and has been through this process before, knows what it's like, what would your advice be to that 15, 16-year-old who's about to potentially hear their name called this weekend?
Well, my advice would just be just have fun with it. Just take advantage of that special day, and make sure you're not too disappointed if you go high. At the end of the day, the draft's just a number, and the real work starts when you get drafted. So whatever team you go to, just be ready to put on that uniform happy and represent the team well.
Absolutely. And it's great advice to say, like, doesn't matter where you go because you hear so many stories of guys who were, not drafted at all, or they were drafted in the 12th, 13th, 14th round. You have one of your teammates this year was that way, Kieran Galams, 13th round pick, and fought his way onto the team to start off. Zach Beauregard, another one in the 10th round. Will Trudeau, 10th round pick. A lot of guys who don't necessarily get the fanfare that a top 5 pick would get, but a guy who nonetheless makes an impact on that team. So fantastic advice as always. Lucas, I won't take up too much more of your night. Once again, thank you very much for taking the time this evening. I won't get you on any more of those half-hour Zoom calls because you've clearly had quite a few of them. Enjoy your week, and hopefully you get a little more golf in this week.
Yeah. Thank you, Aiden.
Not a problem, buddy. That was Lukas Cormier. Don't forget, fans, the QMJHL Draft gets underway Friday night at 7:30 p.m. with the first round. You can watch that on the QMJHL's YouTube page, or if you're an Eastlink subscriber, it's on Eastlink Channel 610. Rounds 2 through 14, you'll be able to follow us on social media with all the updates. I'll be on here doing Facebook Live with one of our top 2 draft picks, as well as a post-draft interview with Jim Holton and Trevor Housecap Burke. For Lukas Cormier, my name's Aiden Northcott. Look forward to chatting with you guys soon, and enjoy the rest of your night.